My name is Craig. I'm a power host on tour with 12 vehicles, 10 of which I rent out. Here's a random tip. Acquire as much data as you can. Here's what I mean by that. I have Excel spreadsheets for a lot of things, but especially for the business. On one Excel spreadsheet, I have all the vehicles listed out and all the expenses for that vehicle. So the vehicle, the name of the vehicle, whatever the payment is, extra payments, insurance, gas, maintenance, car washes, all of it. The mileage, the taxes I pay on the vehicle, everything is in the spreadsheet. Now, it kind of sucks setting these things up, but once it's set up, it's more or less automatic. You have to punch in the data, but if you punch in the formulas, it does the math for you. It sucks setting it up, but once it's set up, it runs rather smoothly. Because of that, I can see the bigger picture. So because I can see the bigger picture, I can get in and start fine-tuning things that otherwise I may have not fine-tuned, or I wouldn't have been able to fine-tune with as much accuracy as I can. Here's an example of that. So I recently just looked up what I'm spending in car washes. It's a lot. It's a lot. About $700 a month. That's crazy. On one hand, it's like, psh, F that. Like, I'm gonna go wash a car myself and blah, 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 blah. But when I really take a step back, it's not worth doing it myself. Like, I'm not half-assing these car washes, and I don't have my own little garage port to wash my cars. I'm gonna spend way more time doing that than driving literally 2 minutes down the street to my preferred car wash, which is called Twins Car Wash in Sanford. Plus, I have handicap plates for a reason. The speed in which I can get my cars cleaned makes the math. Car wash is only 2 minutes down the street, so I can essentially bring multiple vehicles and I can walk back. I ain't walking. I got an electric scooter. So I'll put my electric scooter in the trunk. I'll drop, if I have a day where I have 3-4 vehicles to bang out to get clean, I'll get them pre-prepped here, like, the chargers, the umbrellas, the floor mats, the car, the white, it's a whole process. But I get them all ready, essentially inside on the passenger seat, unless, the cords and stuff is already put back inside the center console, same with my business card and the wipe, in the hand sanitizer wipes. And everything is put back in the glove box, and then there's a new air freshener. I put a new air freshener up there. I don't open it all the way, but I crack it, throw it up there, and then everything else is on the passenger seat. And then I'll just drive over to the car wash, drop it off, hop on my scooter, come back, grab another one, and do the same thing, drop it off, hop on the scooter, come back, grab another one. By the time I'm coming back that 4th time, one of those cars is already done. Now, I could have done it myself, but they're gonna do it faster because they have an assembly line of people. So because I get the vehicles ready so fast, somebody else could book it. So those days where I get, at least one vehicle books right away because I got it ready that fast, if all I need is like 2 of those days, sometimes even 1 of those days, and I made all that money that I spent on car, I made all that back because the vehicle was ready to rent. Speed is key. Speed and accuracy, but speed is key. And then on top of that, like I said, I got handicap plates for a reason. So like, even if there was a self car wash in the same building that I'm in, for me personally, I can't do it. I can't do it. First off, it takes me too long, and then to be in those awkward positions, it's gonna and has messed me up. Like, it's not worth it. It's not worth it to do that, and then the inflammation really starts kicking up, and now I got to go to urgent care and get a couple shots, and I got anywhere from a week to 3+ weeks of recovery. I'm losing crazy money doing that. So if you have 1 or 2 cars, yeah, by all means, take the car, wash it yourself. If you have 1 or 2 cars, you're just starting off, wash it yourself. Once you start really increasing that fleet, it's better just to have someone else do it. Like, the math every time. Especially like if you take pride in your car being clean. Like, check my reviews. That's one of the top comments. The car was spotless, they say. And I take a lot of pride in that. But because I was able to see the bigger picture and see, okay, this is how much I'm spending specifically for car washes on average a month, I still wanted to find a way to minimize that, right? Here's where it could have been a whole nother video, but where being creative comes into play. And I've touched on being creative on many videos, and this is just kind of a blending of being creative and putting together data. So I said, okay, what can I do to spend less money on car washes. You know, I could do sometimes clean it myself, which I do, but it's rare. It's when somebody only rents a car for like a day or two. Now I have a 2-day window. I don't even do the 1 days anymore. But someone rents a car for like, you know, a short amount of time, and they brought back the vehicle, and it was actually pretty clean. Like, if I look at it, I'm like, yeah, I could probably just clean this up myself in like 15 minutes. I'll just do it myself. You know, it's a little uncomfortable, but like I can do it, and I just saved $25, $30, right? So that's what I was doing for a little while, but then I thought, maybe, work smarter, not harder. So I went to the car wash one day, and it's a car it's a car wash and a concrete company in the same building. They have 2 offices in the car wash. They run the concrete company on the side, and the car wash is like the big building. The guy who runs the car wash doesn't speak, his English isn't that great. It's enough to kind of get by, but it's not that great. And the guy who runs the concrete company, fluent English, fluent Spanish as well. So I saw the guy who runs the concrete company, and I've been telling him for a while now, you guys need to make business cards. Because I told him about what I do, about other local entrepreneurs and local businesses pitching in and putting these cards, and people are getting pings like at $5 a month or $60 a year, better yet. You know, between the $60 for the whole year and your 600 items, whatever they are, business cards, sticky notes, flyers, whatever, all you need is like 1 or 2 jobs, and depending on what your business is, but you only need a couple jobs to make that money back. Like your concrete company, you can make that back in 1 job. You know, the t-shirt guy, he can make that money back in 1 or 2 jobs. And so on and so forth. So it's worth it. He was like, yeah, you're right, blah, 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 but you got to talk to, De La Cruz. He's the one who really runs the car wash, and we've been talking a little bit, and we don't really have the funds to pay for that level of marketing yet. We wanted to hire somebody and have them take over the social media and help us design stuff and get the word out. And here's where you have to capitalize on moments. You know, I love what Pitbull said, something along the lines of like, I don't need much. You don't need to open the window that much. All I need is a little crack, and I'm in there, partner. Like, if you give me the opportunity, 9 times out of 10, I am going to seize it. So I don't need much of a window for me to get through it. And you need to have the same attitude, and no matter what you do, it doesn't have to be rental vehicles. Like, if you are a hustler to your core, you'll find ways to use the advice that I give to implement into your life or whatever it is you're doing. And I'll touch on this in another video, but I learned from so many different people and platforms and so on and so forth. And people think, you're a marketing genius, and you're so good at, you're so savvy, and you're so wordy, and I've seen you in action. You turn into a businessman real quick. It's just from studying other people. But I immediately seized the opportunity. I said, well, I mean, hey, maybe we could work something out. I can get a couple, more free car washes, and I'll take over and I'll be your guy. And he's like, that's not a bad idea. I already worked out a deal with them. So to rewind a bit, I already worked out a deal with them where I get every 7th car wash free. It's not a lot, but it's better than nothing. It's, they're just starting out. They're doing what they can, and I appreciate them doing anything for me, because at the end of the day, they really don't have to. I made the pitch. He liked the pitch, but that's not really the guy I needed to talk to. So I made the pitch to the actual guy. I typed it up. I had his number because I used to be partnered with them anyways, and I sent them the pitch, and then I saw him and I asked him if he got it, and he said he needed the other guy to translate it, and I was like, oh yeah, that's right. Like, English isn't that great. I gave it a couple days, and I didn't really hear anything back, and I asked I always see the English speaking guy all the time, and he's like, we haven't really talked about it. So instead of waiting, I took matters into my own hand. The internet's your friend. I literally my pitch that I typed up, I punched it in and translated it right on the internet and sent it directly to him. Now that translation isn't going to be immaculate. It's not going to be great, but it's good, and they'll get the gist. There may be some grammatical errors in there and some stuff that's like, why do you say it like that? But they'll get the picture, and it worked. So my pitch was a little aggressive, but it worked. They countered, and it worked. So essentially I said, hey, I worded it really, really well, um, and said, basically that I wanted to take over marketing for them. So I have access to private community pages that like, unless you live there, you don't have access to. Like, I live in a gated community, and you can't get into these social media pages because you have to live there. Like, there's somebody who like checks you essentially at the door, and they look, oh, you don't live here, and they won't approve you. So unless you live there, you can't get on it. And then I have access to other communities as well, that most people don't have access to. But basically, I want to take over your social media. If you don't have, these social media platforms, let me create them for you. Here is some ideas for business cards and like little punch cards and stuff to reel people in. I went right on Zazzle, and it takes a little while to set it up, but I set up a couple, like, just so they can get a general idea of what I was talking about. And then I made a couple posts on some of those pages so they could see what I'm talking about too, because as soon as I posted it, people were already like, ooh, how much is it? Where is this place? Blah, blah, blah. This is perfect. I didn't even know there was a car wash over there. So they got to see those interactions. They got to see a little bit of what I was offering. So I said, hey, I want to do all this, and, instead of every 7th car wash free, can we make it every 3rd? And they counter with every 4th. I was like, psh, when can I start? They said, right now. So, like I said, if you create the opportunity, you have to deliver. Okay, so don't bluff your way into a position and then don't deliver. Like, you have to deliver. And I guess lucky Libra, there was a beautiful Jeep parked right out front. The lady had it was a beautiful color, similar to GM's blue, but it was just a beautiful blue, and it was parked at the right angle. The door was open. I was just talking with the lady and asked her if I can get a shot. I got a couple shots, and a couple guys were out there cleaning cars. I got a couple shots of them cleaning, and started already on a list of like catchy pitches essentially to the local neighborhood, like, come see why Twins is Sanford's best, or why everybody's talking about Twins, and blah, 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 blah. And I got like several of them already pre-written. So the initial setup is going to take some time, especially once they give me the logos and all that stuff to put on Zazzle and create their business cards, which they're paying for, by the way. I'm not paying for their business cards. Like, hey, I'll create it, but you gotta pay for it. It's not how that works. But once it's all set up, it's easy, because at that point, you just click reorder. So whenever they need more business cards, we just click reorder, and they either order it, or they just give me the money for it, and I'll click reorder. Because once it's designed, it's already designed. If I get all these pre-written messages, if I get enough of them, I can just kind of cycle through those. I'm at the car wash damn near every day anyways. So I get to see firsthand some of the nice cars that are there. So I can get a couple photo shoots. If people don't mind being in the photos, I can get some videos and stuff like that. So now, not only did I decrease how much I'm spending by hundreds of dollars, I'm also gaining that marketing experience that I wouldn't have otherwise gotten. So now I get a pretty interesting marketing experience, because I'm not marketing for me, I'm marketing for them, and I can find ways to make that market for me as well. I also get, like I said, I get the experience of marketing for somebody else. So maybe, who knows, maybe I end up being way better at this than I thought I would be. And now some other company who's paying out the wazoo wants to hire me to do the same for them, and so on and so forth. Who knows, now everything takes a hard left, and now I'm all of a sudden into marketing instead of rental cars, which wasn't it wasn't part of the plan at all. This rental car company wasn't part of the plan at all. It just kind of happened. Who knows? Maybe I end up so well at marketing that I can hire somebody to take over Craig's Rental Services, and now I'm handling marketing, and I get paid enough to pay an employee really, really well, plus continue to take care of my family. Or worst case scenario, I just gain the experience, and I could take that knowledge and implement it into what I do, whether it's this rental car stuff or some other project I move on to. So I essentially collecting that data was what allowed me to seize that opportunity. Because if I wasn't marking down how much I was spending, I wouldn't have had clear targets. It would have been blurry, essentially. So I would have said, oh, I'm spending a lot of money in car washes, but I don't know how much. Can I minimize it? And what I probably would have did is just, done some more car washes myself, which really it would have ended up costing me more money than just paying for them to do it. But because I had actual data, actual numbers, I was able to see, okay, this is how much I'm spending. Let me round it up a little bit. And okay, that's about how much I'm spending every month in car washes on average, like a higher average. And that's what I need to have constantly set aside for these car washes. But how can I minimize that by X amount of dollars? If I didn't have the data to show me that, I wouldn't have been able to come up with this idea. And it's fantastic. Now I'm officially the marketing person for Twins Car Wash. It's pretty dope. Honestly, I think it's pretty cool. But I wouldn't have been able to do that without the data. It makes things easier for taxes. So I'm at the point now where I could probably just do this myself, but I'd rather pay for the peace of mind, to be completely honest. Like the last time I did my taxes, they were asking if I wanted a job. They wanted to hire me. They actually wanted to hire me. It was tempting because apparently it was H&R Block. You don't necessarily have to, I'm getting off topic, but you don't necessarily have to, you don't have to work crazy hours. You can just work like a little bit. It's a very short amount of time that you have to work, and then you still gain all the knowledge of filing your own taxes. And I thought it was kind of cool. Like I was actually really interested. I was really considering it, but at the end of the day, the time that takes away from me, it's just not worth it. I make so much more by just paying for the peace of mind. So at the end of the day, until I start making millions of dollars from this, I'm soon. But until then, it's worth it just to pay even several $100. Like several $100 to H&R Block or whoever the hell to file on my because there's a lot. It's more than just the rental cars, and that's why it costs me so much to do my taxes. But it's worth paying the money to me for that peace of mind, because if I do it and I mess up, well, then I just messed up, and now I gotta pay whatever fines. But if they do it and they mess up, it's insured up to like $1 million. So like they can mess that thing up horribly, and I'll be fine. So you know what? I'll pay. But it does make things easier when you're filing your taxes. Like the tax ladies love me because everything's on an Excel spreadsheet, and I have the mileage of every vehicle for the year. I have the taxes I paid on the vehicle for every year. I have all of the expenses, not just the car payments, which you can't really deduct that, but you can deduct like your interest. I also have the interest I paid, annual interest on the vehicle, taxes, mileage for wear and tear, and then all the maintenance, car washes, all that stuff is a deductible. They are legitimate business expenses. So yeah, having as much data as you can really helps you out. And there'll be some long nights where you're here, right where I'm at, right in front of the computer, just getting everything, nice and organized. But as long as you stay on top of it, it's relatively easy work. It only becomes a real headache. It's only a real headache in the beginning, and then a real headache if you let just too much time go by, and then you have a giant, which I kind of did right now, a giant stack of mail to go through. This is bills and tolls. This is really just tolls, of which I might have to start looking into the easy passes. I kind of like the tolls, to be honest. I don't know why. I don't know what that's about, but I'm sure eventually I'm probably just going to switch to the easy passes. But yeah, it's complicated because they only count for here. You can't really, I don't think you can just get an easy pass for New York when you live in North Carolina. So it's like, what's the point? I might as well just hold what I got. But yeah, keep track of all your data. You'll thank yourself later. As always, I'm your power host, Craig, and I hope I can provide a better experience.